Good morning, good morning, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, or goodness wherever you are in this big, beautiful, and messy world. I am Carol C.C. Miller, your positive life strategist, peace activator, and global hugger, coming to you with another episode of Embrace Your Life Chats, where the intention is to heighten celebrations and lessen sorrows through a positive focus. So let me know where you're joining me from in comments. This is a community chat, even though you're only seeing me on screen. So let me know where you're joining me from. I am here in Chicago on a very hot summer day. So before we get started on today's topic, I do like to go over a couple of house cleaning rules. And one is I'm not an absolutist. I'm not a big fan of the words always, never, right, wrong, good or bad. There are 7 billion people on this planet. I can't begin to say what is always right or never right. So keep that in mind. I work on a scale of 0 to 100. 0 being always negative, 100 being always positive. I don't know anybody at 0, and I don't know anybody at the 100. I know people closer to 0 and 100, but my personal work that I do is to stay in the 80 to 100% of the time positive, loving, kind, compassionate, and peaceful. What does that mean? Sometimes I'm not those things. Fear visits me, frustration visits me, disappointment, anger, unworthiness, all of those normal things visit me, but because of my daily practices, they visit, they don't move in. Secondly, I'm a coach. I love supporting people in living their best life, whatever that looks like. I am not a counselor nor am I a therapist, and sometimes to live your best life, counseling and therapy is the best way to move forward with that. I'm a believer that you deserve to live your best life and you're worthy of it. So, whatever support system you need to do so, I encourage you to do that. Whether it's hiring me as a coach, finding a counselor therapist, whatever your support team looks like, please do it because you're worth feeling your absolute best. So, with that said, I don't see any comments at the moment. It could be I'm not seeing comments too, because sometimes they don't show up. So if somebody's making a comment and I'm ignoring you, it's not intentional whatsoever. Today's topic, oh, I just now saw a comment, so maybe they are going to start working. Hi, Ricky, good to see you. So today's topic is brought to you by one of our community members, Kathy, and she asked how to deal with difficult people and not become bitter or angry towards them. I thought that was such a great topic because I suspect the majority of us, maybe not everybody, but probably the majority of us have a difficult person or two or 10 in our lives, and it's easy to get angry and frustrated with them. And one of the tips that I'm going to give you, but I'll say it right now, we can't change other people. We can't control other people, but we can figure out how we work best with other people and what we are in control of to focus on that instead of the reactions and the behavior of the other person. So I think it's a really good topic. And I promise you, I have people in my life that are challenging, and I use these tips on how I move forward with that relationship as well. So today we're talking about challenging, difficult people and how we can best work with them to not allow them to take our energy and focus. Because when we're dealing with a difficult person, most likely we're focusing on what we don't want in our lives rather than focusing on what we do want in our lives. So keep that in mind too. But if you've been with me before, I like to pick a word, define it, come up with an affirmation, and then tips around it. So the definition of difficult is needing much effort or skill to accomplish, deal with, or understand. Needing much effort or skill to accomplish, um, wait, needing much effort or skill to accomplish, deal with, or understand. So when you're thinking about those difficult people, it requires more effort to work with them. It requires more understanding to even understand where they're coming from. So it's more of a difficult relationship. So the opposite of difficult is simple, easy, um, easily understood or done, presenting no difficulty. So it's one of those things. Even being aware of the your relationship dynamic is going to help you through it. So I have somebody. I don't know how to turn off the volume on that messenger thing. Let me see if I can get them to stop. Oh, I'll just ignore them. So know that it's helpful to know being aware of the relationship that you're in. So the affirmation I'm going to use today, and if you're not familiar with affirmations, it's a statement. It could be positive, it could be negative. It's just a statement that you make. And it's often, not always, but it's often, I am this or I feel this. But you can have a positive statement. If I were to say, I am very smart, and I immediately think of three things that I did that were not very smart, so I've negated that statement. Even though I'm pretty sure you would agree with me, I am smart is positive, but it's not positive for me because it's not believable. So you want that statement that you make to be believable, and it can be a stretch from where you are, but you don't want to immediately negate it. And the purpose of the affirmations is to replace all the negative self-talk, the negative thoughts and comments we've heard from other people over the years. They're in the back of our head that we're often making decisions on and feeling about ourselves without even being aware that we're using that backlog of information. So the affirmations are to help replace that and to start focusing on what you want rather than what you don't want. So today's affirmation is, I choose to see the best in myself and others. I choose to see the best in myself and others. Now, if you're right now not choosing that, you're focusing on what you don't like about yourself or what you don't like in others, you might want to go into, I'm in the process of choosing to see the best in myself and others. And when I say I'm choosing to see the best in myself and others, I don't want you to ignore the not good parts of the other people and pretend that they're perfect and absolutely everything you want, but focus on what it is you do like about them. Focus on what it is that they do bring into your life rather than focusing on what the challenge is and what's hard about the relationship. So again, I choose to see the best in myself and others. So some tips around that, and these again are tips that I use either personally and I've used them with coaching clients. One of the things that when my coaching clients come to me and they're frustrated about a relationship, generally speaking, if they're coming to me about a frustrated relationship, it means it's a significant relationship. It's easier to blow off people that we don't have a tighter connection with, and they don't take our energy because we don't really care as much about that. But when it's people that we care about or people that we have to interact with, whether it's a boss, a colleague, or some reason that they're in our life, then I ask them, they've come to me, they've shared this frustrating moment that they've had. I immediately ask them, what are three things that you appreciate about that person? And I would say probably 90% of the time, that might be a little high, but it's close, that they can tell me three things that they appreciate about that person. And that deflates the energy of the anger, the frustration. Doesn't make it go away, but it does put you in the space of solutions rather than blame, shame, and complain. Now, sometimes they can't come up with a reason because they're in that moment. They are so heated that they're not able to look at past experiences that went well, or maybe it's such an absolutely difficult person that they don't have gratitude for them. Like that's just where they're at with it. Not right or wrong, it's just where they're at. For that situation, which again rarely comes up, but when that situation comes up, generally most people have much better relationships with many other people in their lives. This one person is the challenge, and it's a hard relationship. But when you start to focus on all the other good relationships you have, again, you deflate the energy that you're giving to this person. You're giving your power over to this person by being angry, by being frustrated, by whatever it is. Not right or wrong or good or bad. It's just what's going on, and it's about how do you want to feel moving forward. So ask yourself, I don't know, Kathy, if you're on here today, but when you're thinking about that person, I would ask yourself, what are some things that you do appreciate about that person? Hey, Rachel, good to see you. Hello, Susan. Hello, Anna and Carolyn. I'm seeing comments finally. So I call for therapy and they don't take my insurance. Oh, that's always fun, Carolyn. Keep trying. Find another place because insurance is certainly a thing, but there is somebody out there that's going to support you. I promise you. It just might take a little deeper dive to find that. So tip 2, I already said that. See this person as the example of what you don't want. If their behavior is something that is challenging and difficult for you, you probably know people, you say the sky's blue and they're going to say it's aqua. I mean, they just want to be difficult and challenging you on every single topic. Those are the ones that are the difficult and challenging type of situations. But see them as an example of what you don't want. I don't want to show up as that person. I don't want to be the person who is always picking on somebody or the person who's difficult to get along with. Has it ever happened? I'm sure there are people out there who have said I'm difficult too. So it's about being who you want to be, showing up in the world as you want to be, being gentle with yourself when you're showing up in the world not the way you want to be. If you recall my scale, it's 0 to 100. I am not 100% positive. I am not 100% kind, loving, compassionate, and peaceful. Those are my top values to work with. But because they're important to me, I have daily practices to keep me in that space the majority of the time. So I don't expect any of you on here to be 100% kind, 100% positive, 100% happy. But when you're able to be that more so than not, that's when you're focusing more on what you want rather than what you don't want. And while my daily practices are to be in the 80 to 100%, if you're at 20, 30, 40, maybe 10, my guess is if you're at a really low number, you're probably not watching a part of the community, but you might be. So it's really about feeling a little bit better. 51% is the majority of the time. So you don't even have to work towards 80% right now. It's kind of like an affirmation. If you're at 20%, 80% is probably way too big to look at. So you want to go to 25%, then to 30%. And it shifts. Like there could be something really hard in my life that puts me under 50%. But I don't stay there that long because I know who I want to be, how I want to show up, and how I want to feel. So it's about being gentle and moving forward. And the next tip is compassion. And if somebody's being really difficult with you and their behavior is unkind or poor or whatever, I am not talking about the truly the violent people. That's a whole different ballgame. But if they're being disrespectful, unkind, or any of those type of things, having compassion, knowing behind that behavior is a story. There is a backstory to that person that has brought them to the space of acting this way. Doesn't excuse their behavior, doesn't make their behavior right. But when you know, when you kind of get curious and think, I wonder what has happened to this person to make them okay to be this way, to make them think it's kind of their survival mechanism, like hurt before I get hurt kind of thing. So it's, again, please know it's not about excusing their behavior or their actions, but it is about being able to find compassion, knowing most likely, I'm not going to say always, but most likely something has happened to them that has brought them to this space. Not right, not okay, but you can find compassion when you know that their truth isn't to be a challenging person. Their truth isn't to be mean. That's how they're acting at this moment. And there's consequences to behavior, of course, but it is about being able to find some compassion for them, which again will lessen your frustration and lessen your anger and bitterness. Might not make it go away, but you're able to see behind what they're doing and what possibly has motivated them to be that way. Next, limit your interaction with them. Now, there are certain people we can't really do that with. You know, if it's somebody we live with or it's our boss or something, but you can still do what you can to mitigate as much of your interaction as you can. And then to be prepared for your interaction. One of my clients has a challenging relationship with a sibling. And so we've discussed the fact if she's not in the space when her sibling calls, don't answer the phone. Be ready to be able to bring your best self to that situation. Maybe have a set time if you're needing to meet with somebody. Have a set time that you're going to spend with that person rather than being there with them all day or all afternoon. It's about minimizing the opportunities for that challenging relationship to start taking over your energy. And again, it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but we give our power over when we allow frustration to be our leading voice, when we allow anger to run the show. Anger is not bad. Frustration is not bad. Sadness is not bad. It's when we act upon them and let them lead our show. We're probably stepping out of love, kindness, compassion, and peace at that moment. Then Look for some commonality with that person. What is it that you do have in common? Maybe it's an interest of some sort that you can bring the focus onto that rather than focusing on whatever you're like butting heads on. So come up with some things that you have some commonality, and maybe you don't, but that is a tip to look into. Um, I already said this one, to be prepared when you're dealing with them. So if you know you're going to be having a meeting with this person or spending time with this person, get yourself into that space to prepare for it. Think about what you're grateful for about them. And again, think about maybe this person is showing you your other relationships are easy, but do what you can to mitigate that experience that you're about to have with them, because we cannot control other people. And that's again the next thing, is we can't control them. We could want to. Wouldn't it be nice if we could change people's behavior? But that needs to come from them within. What we have control over is how we react to their behavior. Do we react? Do we respond? Do we leave the space? We have control over how we show up in the world. And sometimes we show up with anger too. Sometimes we show up with being difficult too. It's the majority of the time. Who are you showing up as the majority of the time? Who do you want to be in your life the majority of the time? It's one of my questions that I ask myself when I get frustrated or angry or scared. Who do I want to be? I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person who is bringing more love, kindness, compassion, and peace into the world. I want to be the person who's spreading positivity in the world the majority of the time, because I am not that all the time. So I encourage you to think about the absolutes that you might say as well. And then lastly, is to be gentle with yourself, because uh, people have different personalities, people have different backgrounds, people have different challenges that they're going through. So they may be going through a really hard time right now. It's called displaced emotion. So they're dealing with mom and they're spewing at you because they can't yell at mom. They're yelling at you because they can't yell at their boss. So a lot of times we're taking it out on other people. And often we take it out on people that we love, because there's that unconditional, you're not going to leave me if you love me, even though I'm treating you poorly. So know that it's often not about you either, but it's just different steps that you can do to manage your time with those difficult people in your life. So again, it's to find what you're grateful for about them, see them as the example of what you don't want to be. I think a lot of times when you think about a difficult person comes up to you, maybe they're yelling at you or they're just disagreeing on everything you say. It's easy to get into matching their energy and get mad back at them, to yell back at them, to get as disagreeable as they are. So they are winning you over by you matching their energy. For you to stay within your own energy and stay calm and to stay kind and compassionate takes work. And sometimes you might need to leave it completely, but know that you still have the power to do that. And when you match their energy of anger, frustration, or whatever, please don't beat yourself up over it. It's so easy to match that energy when people are coming at us that way. It takes a lot of work to be able to stay in that peaceful space that you most likely want to be in the majority of the time. Find compassion for them. Know that there's a backstory to whatever is creating this behavior. Does not make the behavior okay, does not make the behavior right, but it does allow you to find some compassion when you know that they're going through something that's creating that situation. Look for commonality. Limit your time with them as much as you can, especially if it's somebody who really sets you off easily. Be prepared when you do have to deal with them. Come up with the things you're grateful for them. One of the things that I tell my clients who have that kind of situation, so now you have to meet with them for whatever reason. You've determined that they're important enough in your life, because you can rid them from your life as well. But if there's somebody who's important enough in your life, you are willing to keep them in it. When you have that time together, whatever it is, come up with the things you're grateful for. Set the tone for what you want it to be. I like to say that went better than expected. And then once it's over, especially if it was still hard, do something kind for yourself after. So you're rewarding yourself for getting through that difficult moment, that difficult experience, especially if you were able to maintain your own energy through it. What I don't want you to do is to beat yourself up over if you do get into reactive mode. We all do it. I just said an absolute. The majority of us do it at some point or another where we get more into reactive. So take that as well and just be gentle with yourself through the process. So hopefully Kathy is here or we'll watch it later since it was her topic. I'm going to come into questions here and see if there's any questions. And again, if you have any type of topic you would like me to bring a little bit more love, kindness, compassion, and peace and positivity to, put it in comments. And if it's something that I feel I can add to it, I will add it to the list. I'm here Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11:30. So let's see who I think. Trying to see how do you do this with rude relationships and family. Susan, that is a great one. I guess it really goes back to the importance of that relationship in the family. I am not a believer that just because they're family that I have to have them in my life. But if some people are, family is everything. If they're rude, is it somebody who is able to hear that? Because if you're talking to somebody who you say black, they say blue, you say it's sunny, they say it's hot, whatever you say to them, they're probably not going to listen to you. So if it's that type of person, I would take some deep breaths. When I'm excuse me, when I'm in there, I might start a mantra. I choose peace. I choose peace. I choose peace. I might shut them out completely and not really listen to what they're saying. Or if it's somebody that I feel I can say it and it would be impactful, I might say that hurts my feelings. Or, what do you mean by that? But you want to make sure that that person is approachable to be able to hear what you have to say and how it impacts you. I hope that helps. I'm glad you're here too, Anna. Let me know, Susan, if that helps or if you need a little bit more clarification. I try to avoid those people. However, what is your advice if the person you are the closest to has become the most difficult? Ooh, Rachel, that again really goes back to owning your own power and not taking in their behavior and absorbing it. So it goes back to observing it. And it's really hard when it's somebody that you love and you think or know that they are doing things in a difficult way and making your lives harder. But again, we can't change people. We can emulate, we can show people how we're living, and eventually they will see Rachel's pretty easygoing, happy, things are going well. How can I be more like that? But the more we try to make people or remind people, you're negative. Like, I don't know that that's ever worked on anybody to tell them that they're being negative, that they're being difficult. Generally speaking, when people come at us that way, especially if it's in yelling, we go into defense mode. We're protecting ourselves. We don't even hear what they're saying because we're in protect mode. But when you're able to come at it with a little bit more compassion and they find a common ground to discuss it, then even if it's something you're doing that really should be addressed, if it's being yelled at me, I'm not listening to you. I am protecting myself. So if you bring it up in a way that somebody can hear it, and maybe it's getting curious and questioning, but I would say, Rachel, one of the things would be to think about the backstory that has them in that space and know that they have their own growth to go through and they get to choose to do it or not to do it. But the less you absorb it, the better. And to find some outlets of doing things away from them that refuels you and gets you into a better space to be able to manage it. I would definitely choose some affirmations or mantras. I choose peace. I choose peace. I choose peace. Not absorbing what they are doing. It's their own story that they're going through. But when it's somebody that's close to us that we really love, it is hard to do, but it's possible. You are welcome, Susan. Oh, Carolyn, well, thank you for taking notes. And this will be, it's recorded and saved, so you can come back to it later as well. And I also put it on YouTube, so it's easier for me to find later if people need to see it. Anna, I was staying with my sister and was doing chores and cleaning up after them daily for around a month. She is out of nowhere freaked out and called me every bad thing and even said she hated me. She threw me out and gave me 5 minutes. My goodness, Anna, she threw me out. I was devastated. So on the move again while still battling my divorce and trying. Anna, I'm glad you were okay and you were going through such a hard time. Please reach out to some local support and find someone to talk to locally that's going to help you. I don't know the situation with your sister, but I do know people. I mean, that experience that you just had was an extreme experience. I do know people who are such control freaks that when you load their dishwasher for them, it's in the wrong place. So some people helping them is more telling them they're doing it wrong rather than being a service to them. So that might be something that's going on with your sister. I have zero idea. That's an extreme situation. But I really would love to see you look for some online support while you go through this divorce, because it's a really hard experience. And there are people who are experts and trained to be able to help you in that space. I'm here to help you every Tuesday and Thursday that I can, but I would love to see you get some more support. Hello, Lynn from Dallas. I pray for peace and calm for all of us. That is a beautiful prayer. I love both my mom and my youngest sister from a distance because of their negativity. It was hard, but it was the healthiest choice for me. That is a great point, Lynn, because I think for me personally, I unconditionally love everyone. My conditions come on who I spend time and energy with and my attention. So there are people in my life that I still love, and I don't have any involvement with them, because when I am involved with them, especially if we're involved a lot, love is not in the equation anymore. It's like battling, battling, battling. So sometimes for me, and you get to decide, each one of you, on the importance of that relationship. Sometimes it requires leaving the relationship. There's many things you can do to try to work with it. But in the end, if you're not able to find that peace in the relationship and removing yourself from it, then you'll be able to step back in love with that person, knowing you can love them from a distance. And it's made a huge change for me personally, because I wanted to keep relationships and make them work and everything. And they just, not some relationships aren't supposed to work, and that's okay too. Yay, Anna, I'm so glad that you will find help. Please keep me posted. I enjoy when you're here on the calls with me too. So I think I have gotten everybody's comments. So I'm going to quickly, because I haven't mentioned this for a bit, global free hugs. I know Rachel is on here and she is signed up. It's happening September 9th through the 11th. Yes, we are still dealing with COVID. Some places are worse than others. So I do ask people to respect their community rules on whatever that looks like. I have not done global hugs for 2 years because of COVID. Usually it's in May. We're trying it in September. And I have a new hugger that has just signed up that I wanted to make a shout out. Priscilla will be hugging in Dublin, Ireland. And so right now I have huggers on 3 continents, 6 countries, and 13 U.S. states. So we have huggers in Asia, Europe, North America, countries, Canada, England, Ireland, Myanmar, I hope I said that right, Switzerland and the U.S., U.S. states, Alabama, Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Hawaii, Illinois, Louisiana, Missouri, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Oregon, and Tennessee. I would love it I'm going to post the link in here on how to learn more about the event. It's just offering hugs in your community. This link tells you, that went a little nuts. So I was just going to share the link about 50 times. But this link will tell you a little bit more about the event and how you can get involved. If you're not comfortable hugging strangers, I was not when I started in 2008. It truly has changed my life. I would love to see people still sign up and say that they're going to offer hugs to their family that weekend and still send a picture, because it's about the community, about the global efforts of loving up this beautiful and messy world one hug at a time. So that is what I have for you today. Oh, hey, Kathy, glad to have you here. And that's amazing. How do I become hugger? Lynn, I just posted the link. It's Carol CC Miller /global-hugger, but the link is right there. If you can't see the link, let me know and I will come back. I'm using a system called StreamYard, so it's allowing me to go live in my Embrace Your Life community, which I encourage you to join. It's allowing me to go live here on Positive Focus and then on my personal profile. So sometimes it doesn't show the links and I have to go back later. I do go back later in the day and look because sometimes I don't see comments while I'm live either. So I do come back and adjust from there. But you will find the link in there. And Lynn, later today, I will come back and post it as well in case you're not able to see it. But let me know if you do. So that is what I have for you guys today. Take care of yourselves. Know that difficult people are out there and they do not have to take your power. It's something that it's a practice. And the more you realize that you're important and your feelings are important and your energy is important, the more you're going to come up with the tools that support you to live your best life. The majority of the time. 51% is all I'm asking for you to think about right now. The more you practice, the more you put yourself in that space, observing rather than absorbing other people. And it can be challenging. I really do believe you could have a table of 8 people who are all complaining about the weather, the government, whatever they're complaining about. And you could go on that table and you'll find yourself fitting in and matching their energy. Same with a table of 8 people who are all thinking about the wonderful and what they're grateful for in the world, even what they can find gratitude in the challenges. The more you're going to match that energy too. Can you be a super positive, happy person and go to the negative table and not match their energy? Absolutely. It takes work. Can you be really upset, disappointed, and frustrated and in a really bad place and go to the table with the positive energy and stay in that hard place? Absolutely. But probably you're still going to be impacted a little bit. So keep in mind who you surround yourself with does not make them right, wrong, good, or bad, but it's who do you want to be, how do you want to show up, and put yourself in a place to succeed. So that's what I have for you today. I will see you on Tuesday, 11:30 Chicago time. Until then, take care and remember you matter. You matter to me, you matter to the world, and most importantly, you matter to you. Go hug yourself, go sign up for Global Hugs, share it and let other people know so we can love up this beautiful and messy world that we live in. Talk to you soon. So long for now.